Welcome to OG Foundation, capital of the sovereign state of Lodium. I'm sovereign non-Lodium. That's me standing there, and the drone is going up and showing you OG Foundation, which is all of my property, my Lodium, which I've staked to the sovereign state of Lodium. And this episode, I'm starting off like this to give a little perspective, which one commenter asked for a couple of videos ago, and to be able to see where I'm working and the current project. So this was just from a day of flying the drone around and the cuts that were kind of like viewable. This is from the spring, or I guess it was the winter, somewhere in the between winter and spring this year. So you can see right here, the citadel is that triangular structure, and then there's the tire wall that goes along the same side as the green fence. So that's where I've built a stone wall this year, and then it wraps around to like the left side that we're coming up to. So you'll see what the previous garage structure was. That's on the bottom left, and then that's what I'm also transforming right now to have a flat surface. You can see the windmill and kind of like get the perspective of where everything is. So once I finish the current project, then basically this year, the 3 projects have been renovating the inside of that garage loft structure, which is just off screen right now. Then the stone wall that connects the citadel to that structure, and then insulating the top of that structure. And I'm starting to push a little bit into the entry hall, which is what's parallel with the long wall on the furthest side, opposite of the citadel. That's on the far side from where we are now. So you can see the windows and what I call the visor. There's the 8 windows on the left that go into the entry hall, which is, you can see the footsteps on that entry hall there. So I'm going to insulate a bit of that before this season is over. And this is the end of this video. And I'm just going to give you a top-down shot of kind of what I was planning this spring and see how it's turned out. So this is a top-down shot that I colored on in the spring when I was planning the projects. So the blue is meant to be kind of like the facade stone wall that connects the citadel all the way over to the right to the entry hall. So I finished that so far. And then the yellow are meant, so the red is the current insulated area, essentially. So it's like if you're looking at the footprint of the ground, the red has insulated, the ground is insulated by the structures above. The yellow were not insulated, but I'm hoping to have them at least partially insulated by this winter time. So and then the bottom blue line below the citadel I didn't get to this year, so I'll be doing that next year. But I got the top blue line, and I'm working on the top of the top right yellow thing, and I don't think I'll get all of the entry hall, and then we'll see about the other 2 yellow things, but that's the projects for now. Morning, boys. That's Benedict on the left and Han on the right. And this is the project zone for this week. You can see kind of some wild kiddos. You can see some of the dark gray is mortar from yesterday. That I'm working on getting this whole thing to slope to the drain right there. So that largely consists of raising up the areas that are not high enough, and then getting it kind of smooth. So I'm doing this all by hand, which helps to add thin coats and get them to bond. And then once I can get that all correctly sloped, which pouring water on it really helps, then to figure out like where it pools and if it all drains correctly. So like this bit over here was kind of draining to the staircase there, but I prefer it to drain to the drain, so I added that there to decrease the area that drains to the staircase there. And some of this was draining over the side, and some of it was draining over the far side, so that's what I was doing yesterday. So I'll probably add some more mortar, if not today, this week, but mostly this week. What I'm working on is finishing up level 1, which is all that down there, and then the staircase here. So there's 1 stair there. I'm going to add another stair, and I'll be working on all that today. And also extending this 12-inch insulation panel layer that direction to insulate this structure. But I don't think I'm going to do this whole project this year. But I am going to be picking up more insulation panels today because I've gotten through most all the big ones. And this is basically all I have left, that and those there. Woo! Wow, kiddos. Hey! So I'll be picking up panels later. And I think what I'm actually going to focus on first is laying down the panels I have, getting this level, and kind of extending that with a little bit of spray foam I have. And then get onto that a little bit later. Tuesday morning, and Duniger is doing good. Chowing down on one of the apples that I just brought for him. And earlier he got as far as the pellets right there, so just too far to be able to catch. So I keep coming out here, checking on him in the mornings, and I gather fruit from the apple trees, share it with him, and then bring some back for me and the other chickens. And just like that, big bag. Hey girl. Just like that, here comes the kitty. Big bag number 2 of insulation scraps is all used up. I just carried that one up the ladder. So I'll get a start on number 3. It looks like this one has a lot bigger blocks, so it'll make it go a lot easier, a lot faster. Wednesday right around noon. I've gotten through the 3rd bag of insulation stuff. I'm on to the 4th. And I got another piece here fitted in. And a good bit more sort of packed out to be able to fit the next pieces. And you can see how, because this entry hall Ferrocement here is going uphill, it's not level. You can see 2 cute goats. And also how, like that 12-inch panel, you can see on the bottom how the plywood is cut out just on this kind of closest corner, because that's where it's tallest. So I can't run that 12-inch panel continuously without stepping it up or kind of cutting it out to mold to the shape of that. So I might try to run a couple more feet of it, but basically I'm gonna go get more insulation material. And right now it looks like this down there with the insulation scraps I've got, and we'll see how much more I get. Oh boy, don't go anywhere, vehicle. It's in gear. That's load number 1 of insulation. Getting 2 houses worth of scrap insulation. So 2 houses worth of waste insulation saved from the landfill, and I will put it to great use. Gonna unload this and get another load. I got a 3rd trailer load of insulation. So now I've got to have projects to use all the insulation. So I've extended this by a few more panels, and I'll be piecing that together. Whoa, wild goats, what are you boys doing? And then when the air crate from earlier today is dry, then I can do remesh on level 1, so that'll probably be tomorrow. Duniger's doing good, eating his apple, got his pellets. Be back tomorrow, Duniger. He always likes to take his apple and run back into the bush. So Thursday, late morning, I got a piece of rebar in over here to finally shape this sort of transition piece there. And then I also put a drain pipe in there because I figured that will make sense for level 1 drain. It's actually a really strange place to put a drain, but because of putting it there, I can send the drain left or right. So it leaves me options later on. And I've foamed up kind of the area, cut back the foam to prep for the remesh, tied that remesh down. And there's one piece. And then, like the Kit Kat left some footprints in the air crate. It's going to get covered by these stairs though. So the stair is going something like this. And then another stair next to it. I just need more foam to get like in that crack underneath before I can put those stairs in. But I also need to kind of line them up before I do this remesh, so I'm not doing the cement underneath. So I'm just prepping for mortar, and I might get a second remesh down before I do the mortar, but I'll give you a shot once I got some mortar. So that's 2 pieces of remesh down, 1 batch of mortar, got the drain integrated, and starting to, the second piece of remesh connected with the rebar and the lath and made a whole metal mash over there, but will end up being strong, and anchored that rebar in. So I'll have to shape this a little bit, and maybe I'll have some rebar scraps, remesh scraps. I think it'll just take 1 more piece of remesh going this way for the bottom here, and I might be left over with some to help me shape that. Otherwise I'll just push up from underneath to get it nice and kind of rounded in the lath space where there's no remesh. But that's good coverage for 1 batch, and later in the day I'll, just like over here, I'll take off the obstacles and add another batch of mortar. I got the 3rd piece of remesh all prepped up here, along with a few scraps. So even though this insulation is all loose, I'm just going to put the mortar on carefully to try not to disturb the foam. But the foam just acts like a form, basically, and fills the gap and will be insulative. But this area right here, I don't really care about the insulation underneath. And I'll probably start applying some of it to the arc as well in this batch. After batch number 2, most of the area is covered. That remesh is really well anchored, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to get a 3rd batch of mortar on there today, but I might. But I'm happy with how this turned out, and I'll have to get some more materials to be able to proceed. So I think I can make progress on the stairs. Now I only have a half bag of Portland left. Friday morning, Denninger's doing good. He just grabbed his apple from right around there and then ran back into the bush with it. Friday morning, and removed most of the obstacles here, and gonna apply the last batch of mortar that I have cement for before I need to get more materials. I started laying lath down on the stairs here. I'll just need to kind of pin it there where the remesh is pushing it out. And I actually want to take the bottom stair out and get foam up back there still. So I think the way that I mortared this and did the metal, I can still remove those and then put them back. But there you go. But the first batch is going to cover the rest of these gaps, and then probably get a good bit on that arched section as well. And you can also see from underneath, hey girl, we see you. Here's sort of the transition. This remesh will get bent down, I think. Though I was thinking of leaving it flat, but I'm pretty sure it'll all get bent down. And under here, you can see how there's like all of these different shovels and tools and stuff kind of just pushing up to try to make this arch out as much as possible. And that's all set where it is now, so I'll mortar underneath those areas, and then I'll move all of these supports to the other areas, which can just be like a solution to get the shape without using the remesh, because I didn't end up having much scrap from this remesh to be able to use to help kind of reinforce that. I just have to add a little piece of lath at the top to kind of finish that arch, and I'm not exactly sure what shape I want it to make, and like how I want it to go into the wall there, like if I want it to kind of curve back like this or just like come to a point there. But as I apply more, it'll become more clear, I think. All right, time for a batch of mortar. I just added some water to this level 1 project section. So it's all good to work on now. It just needs some work with the slope and a little bit more on that dome there. I moved all of the props here to new places to extend the mortar out on top, and then just kind of like made an arc between the points that are reinforced there. So once that's all solid, and then I also did a coat underneath on a lot of it, which was kind of difficult, or at least on the stuff that was 2 batches ago, basically. But this is all mostly flat. It's mostly draining to that drain. What are you boys doing over here? The boys are doing a good job cleaning up leaves, and they're also getting in trouble all the time also. So tomorrow, I'm all out of mortar for now. So I'll do a supply trip tomorrow, and I'll probably start bending this remesh tomorrow as well. Get enough foam to be able to take those stairs out, foam behind them, and then put them back in. And then focus on the stairs, and then finishing up this whole area. So I finally cut open this vent in the ceiling of the Ferrocement dome, and you can see the PVC pipe in there. It's threaded. I think it's 2-inch female threaded, and I just hope that it's lined up right to be able to thread it in through this hole And then, assuming I can get the right piece threaded in there, then once I get it threaded in and cemented, then, like PVC cemented, then I'll end up, like, filling this whole thing with mortar, and then making this higher so that water will run off, versus it was starting to be lower than the rest, so I had to do this now. So this will just, ideally, it's just going to be a PVC pipe that comes up, and then it has, like, a little, like, candy cane type end on it, so that it can just let a little bit of air exhaust out of the top of the Ferrocement dome there without letting any, like, water in. Han just figured out that the back of the recliner lifts. Now he's trying to figure out what exactly to do with that knowledge. This is the insulation pile from the first 2 loads. I've already started bringing some of it up. Lots of insulation, he says. He likes this kind. Saturday morning and there's no Duniger. I went and did a supply trip, and so I'm here a little later than usual. The sun's already almost 2 hands high. And I can't find Duniger. Hopefully he's alright. Back from getting the apples and still no Duniger. It's the first time in weeks I haven't been able to give him his apple in the morning. I hope he's still alive. I'll check in tomorrow. Look how bald Gendel is. She's the girl born this year. The one girl amidst all the brothers. So it's only her and Vangari here now, though. Hopefully Duniger is still alive. But none of the other chickens would even dare to, like, eat off the same plate as the goats, because they're still afraid of them. And the goats haven't really had to kind of, like, deal with the chicken that kind of stands off with them or gets in their space at all. So she kind of pushes the boundary. And she got a good bit of chicken scratch. Such different kind of energies with the goats and the chickens. It's so interesting to see them like that. After the supply trip today, getting more remesh and cement, I also got the pieces I needed for this air vent. So up in the top of the Ferrocement dome, this is just like an air exhaust vent, basically. And I'll probably end up spray painting it. But now I can fill the hole there with mortar and cement that thing in there. So just one batch on Saturday, but got good coverage on the arch and then the pads on the stairs here. A little more over there to make it level. And all resupplied, so should be a good day tomorrow. Sunday morning. The apples and pellets I left for Duniger yesterday are still there. It's looking like that firebird got eaten. But like a phoenix, may he return. Beautiful, great spirit. Rest in peace, Duniger. Sunday morning I ended up spray painting that, though I do need to touch it up, and so that's all mortared in and solid now. And today I'm going to start with these stairs. Mortar prep for the stairs is complete. I put a piece of rebar in the top, bent the lath down, and then just kind of pinning it so it's ready to receive the mortar. It's getting hot in the sun is getting hot up here. So I gotta get changed, have a break, and then on to mortar. Monday morning, you can see the progress from the stairs from yesterday. Got coverage on most all of it, the obstacles are removed, and I'm ready for another batch of mortar, and the remesh is also getting pinned into the sides. I realized that this one can end up connecting to this strange kind of thing here, And then I bent the rest of the lath, pinned remesh over here, so I'm ready for a batch of mortar. And then I'll show you one other project that I started yesterday, which is this project, insulating the ground just north of this wall. So this is called umbrella insulation, I think. That's what I call it. And basically, where it's a little bit thinner, there's 6 inches. And then this whole end part, there's 10 inches or a foot of the thick insulation panels. And so I foamed that yesterday. Today I will cut the foam and smooth it out and remesh right over it. So the remesh will have 6 inches bent and connecting with the existing stone wall, which will also reinforce the existing stone wall. And then it'll extend over here, and then I think I'll cap the end with lath is what I'm thinking. And then I'll probably have to add some more, but I'm gonna try to get, I think, 3 sheets of remesh down on this over here as well, so, which is a good use of this abundance of recycled insulation. I got the 2 long pieces from that trailer and another long piece for the thick insulation down here, so I'll get some more on that today. I have prepped this umbrella insulation section by cutting the foam and getting it pretty much level, and then putting 3 pieces of remesh down, and then these random things are just kind of like holding it where it wanted to push up, so they're just like pinning it down. And now I'll get some first batch of mortar on this to seal it up, or start to seal it up. So I got the first batch of mortar on this umbrella insulation project, and it'll probably be tomorrow when I do more. And I think I'm going to widen it over there. Right here, there's this thing here that you can see. There's like a double barrel air tube going through there that's like 5 inches or something diameter each one. So I would actually like to bring the insulation panel all the way out to the edge of that, and then I'll probably need a second width of remesh for most of this. So it'll end up being wider than I kind of anticipated, but it's pretty much a permanent space to put this recycled insulation that'll end up getting some good use by keeping the ground warmer on the other side. So I don't know if I'm going to do anything else today, but pretty cool to get this on. And I think I'm going to do at least one like rebar line somewhere, but I haven't figured it out yet. Well, the kids. Oh my gosh. They're like skateboarders or BMX riders or rollerbladers in a skate park. There's so many sharp edges and dangerous things like right where he is. And the poops. You wild goats. So I'm just watering the mortar from today. These stairs have really good coverage. I wasn't able to get this piece of remesh, but it's pretty good to drain. There's a little bit of water pooling over there, but all of these PVCs are like pinning metal against the wall basically in different places. But 2 of the 3 I wasn't able to get. But the stairs are doing really good. Probably just need another batch over here before I'm satisfied with it, other than the few remesh places which need a couple batches. And then up here, still having some issues with the water on this section getting over to this drain. So that's kind of going slowly. It's very dry and we're short on water, but otherwise everything else is going good. So by Tuesday afternoon, got some good coverage on this extension of this kind of reinforcement thing. So that goes all the way down. Got that remesh on that side really well integrated, and that all really well bonded. Worked a lot on the slope here and the slope there, and the stairs are pretty much all good. There's just like a little bit to do, like in that one spot that's highlighted by the sun right now. But everything else is looking good. So probably in the next week, I'll be able to finish up some of these things, like underneath that, and then like that little piece, and just some little things, and then start cleaning up this whole area, finish getting this slope all done, and probably put a finish smooth coat on that probably in the next week. And then I'll be moving on to that insulation project over there, which I also made progress on by getting the drain down here mortared in. So there's a drain pipe, a conduit pipe, and then like another drain pipe, like a temporary one, and then one that will go above. So I'm figuring out what I'm going to do here. That'll be for next week, and then I'll show you the umbrella insulation project. I got another coat on that. And then this one got a second batch of mortar on it, starting to integrate the remesh on the side and covered up all the spots where the blocks are. So I'm going to extend this out to the full extent of that 6-inch panel. Here there will be the line, and then a little bit further here, and then I'll cap the whole thing in mortar. So that'll be also for next week. So that's it for this week's episode. How you boys doing? Chickens, goats. Next season I'm going to do a chicken of the week episode. So if there was a chicken of the week, it would be Arthur. He is the second in line in the hierarchy, right behind Dino, and he's Firebird number 1. Something's going on. There's Butterscotch. He's another previous survivor from years past. Okay, that's all for this week. Thanks for tuning in. See you next week.